What's up, YouTube? This is your friendly neighborhood movie nerd, back to give you guys everything going on in the world of movies and TV. Another year has come and gone, and I'm doing something I haven't done in a very long time. I'm doing one of my end-of-year lists as a top 10 video. The sad thing is that now, 5 years into the pandemic era, event TV, one of the cornerstone foundations of this podcast, has simply ceased to be for a variety of different factors. For example, probably the biggest TV event of the year was The Summer I Turned Pretty's final season, a show that I have never watched and will never watch for the simple fact that I'm a straight white male 2 years away from 30. It's been a common problem for a few years now in the TV landscape, but the biggest reason why I'm choosing to shift formats for TV specifically, Stranger Things. The worldwide phenomenon that turned Netflix into the juggernaut that it is. The show that an argument could be made started the binge culture phenomenon in the late 2010s finally came to an end. And we're still getting gigantically budgeted, incredible peak prestige TV. But as if to make my point even clearer, Severance, a show that a lot of people would have argued was the show that was going to and should have won at the Emmys this year, lost to The Pit. Very much more a return to the television of old. Cyclical, release week to week, a workplace drama, an enclosed setting, and no gigantic stars. Not to mention a 15-episode count, practically unheard of since the start of the streaming age. Having lived through the vast majority of changes to television in the 21st century, I can see the writing on the wall. But we still have to celebrate the great TV when we get it. So, without further ado, here are my top 10 favorite shows that we got in the year of 2025, the end of the streaming wars. First, here are some honorable mentions.
Thank you, what? Thank you, Chef! Thank you, what? Thank you, Chef!
This is
Adam's up!
a shipwrecked sailor, a cocky ringmaster, a temperamental monk, and chaos incarnate.
Do you want to be my...
They're taunting us.
If we were dealing with really tricky buggers, we'd hit them when they thought it was over.
The White Room is for my protection.
Protection from what?
Helping me.
Because no one is beyond second chances.
Powers toward the end zone!
Who the is that guy?
He's, like, extremely ugly.
What is this, in Taliban?
Oh, no. When combat gets going, I mean, like, really going.
You look at something you've been staring at for so long, you suddenly realize you stopped seeing it a long time ago.
Sold your fucking shit.
I'm fucking chipping away at it. I'm doing my fucking part, Giggles. You're fucking skimming. And what are you spending it on? You dragged us all into this.
I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised.
Cobra Kai. God, it feels like a million years since I started covering this show during COVID. Like, is there anyone left who even remembers that this started as a YouTube original? The show that started as a joke on How I Met Your Mother that then became one of the few unexpected success stories during COVID when YouTube shut down its original service before Netflix swooped in and catapulted it to new levels. Cobra Kai has proved that, while not the best show of the COVID era, certainly earned its stripes as being the feel-good, heartwarming content that feels harder to come by these days. It started out as a twist on expectations, reintroducing us to the villain of the original Karate Kid before flipping the switch, showing him as having suffered the consequences of his actions before allowing him to experience a hero's journey of his own by taking on a protege and teaching him the ways of karate. It's been many years, a lot of ups and downs, flip-flopping alliances, reintroducing new and old characters from the extended karate verse, resulting in them truly going all out for their 6th and final season. 3 sets of 5 episodes, a 15-episode total count that started all the way back in the summer of 2024, taking the students of Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai to Spain for the Sekai Taikai tournament. The final 5 episodes, which aired back in February, wrap up the events of the Sekai Taikai and the arcs for all our primary characters, and boy are they as glorious, over the top, and ridiculous as one's come to expect from this series. Like, could you imagine any other way for Kreese and Silver to meet their end other than going at it mano a mano before blowing up on a yacht? While its best days were certainly behind it, Cobra Kai truly was the show of an era, and its final 5 episodes proved it. We will miss it, but in the immortal words of Johnny Lawrence, Daniel LaRusso, and so many others, Cobra Kai never dies. The Lowdown. 2025 truly has been the year of the mystery on television, in every single form. You've got the police procedural crime epic, the dark comedy, the sci-fi mystery box, and then there's The Lowdown. Sterling Harjo's follow-up to his critically beloved Reservation Dogs, gone way too soon, produced, co-created by, and starring Ethan Hawke, who clearly enjoyed working with Sterling so much in his one-episode appearance on Res Dogs that they made a whole follow-up show together, and it's awesome. Following Hawke's journey is Lee Raybon, a self-described truthologist as he seeks to uncover conspiracies and report on them however he can, at the behest of everyone else in his his life, including his ex-wife, teenage daughter, employees, friends, neighbors, pretty much everyone he comes into contact with. But when he has the chance to expose the recent suicide of the incumbent mayor's brother as being more than what it is, he's drawn into a vast web, including political espionage, injustice against natives, secret affairs, and of course, a Nazi cult trying to restore purity to the great state of Oklahoma. This show rules. It's one thing that Ethan Hawke is giving yet another iconic turn as a guy who could very easily be a piece of shit but continues to shine as someone who is determined to do the right thing despite his many flaws. But then you've got a supporting cast consisting of Keith David, Kyle MacLachlan, Tim Blake Nelson, Gene Triplehorn, Tracy Letts, Macon Blair, not to mention surprise cameos from Paul Sparks, Graham Greene in his final performance prior to his death, and Peter fucking Dinklage. Time will tell whether this show continues to deliver the way Res Dogs did, but just based on the first season, consider me very excited. The Pit. The surprise of the year for me. Because for the most part, I hate anything that even remotely resembles the big three of standard television. Legal dramas, cop dramas, and medical dramas. I never watched a single episode of ER, Scrubs, Grey's Anatomy, etc. So naturally, when I saw that HBO's debut show for the year was going to be another medical drama from the same creator of ER, who also took over The West Wing after Aaron Sorkin left, and show ran Shameless into the ground, and starring the guy whose entire career was basically ER, I was like, hard pass. Until people started talking about it. And kept talking about it. And kept talking about it. So I gave in, I started watching it, and yeah, color me impressed. Is it the greatest show ever made? No. Did it deserve to win the Emmy over Severance, White Lotus, and Andor? Hard no. Is it breaking the wheel for TV? No. In fact, it's almost playing in reverse, re-engineering a familiar model for a new medium. So why is it on this list? Because this show was a story that we desperately needed in the year of 2025, showing the fallout from the pandemic in the most gruesome fashion, how the medical industry was impacted, and attempting to reinstill the populace with some hope that their institutions can still somewhat function. Plus actually making the characters fully fleshed out in a way that I've never seen before in these kinds of shows. They all feel real and have been kicked in the teeth by COVID, from the senior staff all the way down to the interns fresh out of college. You've also got the HBO factor, which, free of network censors of the past, allows us to go to places you've never seen in a medical drama before. With the last 4 episodes seeing the unit deal with an onslaught of victims of a mass shooting at a concert. It's raw, it's real, it's in your face about how effed up the world is and how brave a face the people who genuinely want to make a difference have to put on. Alien Earth. While Hollywood's exploitation of past franchises has mostly destroyed what's left of them that's good, their treatment of the Alien and Predator franchises has been interesting, to say the least. After several baffling attempts at rebooting them throughout the 2010s, some better than others, the 2020s has seen mostly success. Starting with 2022's Prey, which, while right to Hulu, was still pretty well received, every installment from this franchise has gotten better, with last year's Alien Romulus getting universal praise, along with this year's Predator Badlands. Good as these entries have been, however, none of them came close to Alien Earth, Noah Hawley's next project after 5 mostly successful seasons of Fargo, an idea that nobody thought would work and should not have worked. What made Alien Romulus work so well, which is a lesson that Hawley took to heart with this show, is something that should have seemed obvious from the start but took people a while to grasp. The aesthetics. The sound design, unique architecture, and retro-futuristic engineering designs are so vital to the world of the Xenomorph, one that is cold, ruthless, and bereft of empathy. As despite the terror that the Xenomorphs pose, they've never been as deadly as the corporate overlords who rule over this dystopian future, and this show really tackles that in a way no previous Alien property has. Not to mention giving us something that was rumored back in the 90s but took until Alien vs. Predator for us to get. Aliens on Earth. That would have been awesome enough on its own, but Hawley takes it one step further by incorporating something that Ridley Scott was scratching at with Prometheus and Covenant, how mankind's incessant quest for immortality will eventually lead us to explore the cosmos for things that might bring this about, inevitably leading to our destruction. While a lot of people were critical of Sydney Chandler's performance as a little girl in the body of an android posing as a 20-something-year-old, I found it to be just the right mix of naive and terrifying. Boy Cavalier calls these synthetic hybrids the Lost Boys, purposely naming them after the characters from Peter Pan, juxtaposing the attempt at preserving their innocence with the true intent to make them into ruthless soldiers, creating for the first time since Alien Resurrection a being that has common cause with the Xenomorphs. Like Romulus before it, it's taking everything from the previous Alien properties, the good and the bad, and making it work in its own favor, giving us a new kind of story we haven't seen before with a familiar coat of paint. Great Trojan horsing if I've ever seen. The Chair Company. Tim Robinson is a guy who, despite being a goldmine for memes and internet-age humor senses, was a bit of an anomaly when he was first coming up. Famously, he took Lorne Michaels' departing words when he was let go from SNL and used it as the title for his follow-up sketch show with Netflix, I Think You Should Leave, to give you guys a sense of what he's like. After finding relative mainstream success earlier this year with the low-key A24 black comedy Friendship, he followed this up with bizarro, wacky HBO series about a, shocker, ne'er-do-well office worker who has an embarrassing incident in which an office chair collapses during a press conference announcement, sending him down a rabbit hole of conspiracies in which it seems like the titular chair company doesn't exist, and more importantly, does not want people to know it exists. If you've seen and are used to Tim Robinson's shtick, you're in for a treat, because this may very well be the best thing he's ever done, and that's saying something. It's applying his signature sense of dark humor, suburban emasculation, social awkwardness, and insane facial expressions to a conspiracy thriller that has more in common with Mulholland Drive than an HBO comedy. Enough said. Pluribus. Yeah, Vince Gilligan's the GOAT. As if we didn't need further proof of that, yet here he is with an original science fiction show with no big star centered around one character having to carry the bulk of the story, and it's on Apple TV, no longer Plus. It really goes to show Vince's power as a creator that he was able to get a 2-season order off a show that nobody knew the premise of. Hell, we didn't even know the title until about 2 months before the show's release. Pluribus follows Rhea Seehorn's Carol Sturka, a self-loathing science fiction author who finds herself at the epicenter of an alien invasion that transforms most of humanity into one collective hive mind that then immediately starts working to better society in the most pacifist, calm manner possible. While the appearance of uniformity presents this veneer of tranquility, the dark underlying theme of complacency at the expense of individuality is ripe throughout, as the rigidly independent Carol attempts to find out all that she can about her new visitors and stop them, despite all their attempts to make her life as comfortable and conflict-free as possible. What's interesting about the back and forth between Carol and the hive mind is how it tries to use peaceful tactics to show how much better Carol's life will be if she joins them, while Carol's stubborn resistance is both indicative of her past trauma and the one thing that prevents her from falling for their allure. It's a brilliant way of displaying the paranoid, chronically online mindset of the post-COVID reality. You either live in peace and comfort but surrender any individual freedom, or you maintain your individuality and are thus branded a pariah. In addition, the whole first season acts as a presentation of the 5 stages of grief, probably the best I've ever seen, as the death of Carol's lover Helen in the first episode as a result of the takeover really informs her conflict more than anything. The show is also a testament to filmmaking, because I swear, with the hive mind sequences, which involve sometimes up to hundreds of extras moving in chilling unison, the crew was just trying to make things more complex for themselves because they could. Overall, the show is a testament to individuality thriving against the group thing, a show when Carol finally realizes that despite her attempt to find solace in the New World Order, all they were trying to do was convert her, setting us up for what could be the next great show. The White Lotus, the third in Mike White's class commentary murder mystery vacation porn series that took HBO by storm during the pandemic. And what's interesting is I feel like this one was a lot more mixed than the first two, which tracks because this was my favorite of the 3, easily. My favorite cast, hands down, plus Thailand is such a more interesting location in comparison to Hawaii and Sicily. Plus Mike White was able to tie up all the loose remaining threads left over from the first 2 seasons in such an interesting and unexpected way. Introducing a cast consisting of Walton Goggins, Carrie Coon, Michelle Monaghan, Jason Isaacs, Patrick Schwarzenegger, and a scene-stealing Parker Posey, plus making stars of Amy Lou Wood and Sam Nivola, and a surprise pop-up from Sam Rockwell halfway through. It continues all the bonkers plot directions and sexual undertones that made the show an instant classic in the first place, while also continuing the motif that rich people will always take the working class for granted, while also offering a solution as to why that problem will never be fixed, since for the first time we see how, once given a taste of the power that wealth offers, working class people become just as shitty, shallow, and conceited as the rich people they so despise. But the thing that really sets this season apart for me is how Mike White played with identity, showing how it's almost entirely dictated by circumstance in a way that very few other shows have done. Severance. The ire of watching any television show post-COVID is that, thanks to shows like Game of Thrones and Stranger Things being as huge events as they were, it caused the streamers to start treating all their shows like movies, which led to massive budgets and working around movie star schedules, which often results in massive gaps between seasons, sometimes up to 3 years. So I was both frustrated and elated when it took Severance, arguably Apple's biggest gamble on any idea ever put to television, 3 years to come back. Now, nobody could have predicted that the Hollywood SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes would occur a year after the first season premiered, but the point is, those of us who watched the first season when it premiered way back in February of 2022 had been waiting a long time for the next season. Our hopes were restored, however, when the show not only came back, but was bigger than ever, garnering massive online chatter and praise. The show was another mystery box show, a TV favorite harkening back to the days of Lost, about a looming evil corporation cult that has figured out a procedure that creates a whole separate personality within someone. The first season explored this idea with the innies figuring out their autonomy, resulting in a second season that sees Lumen trying and mostly failing to keep the innies contained so that Adam Scott's Mark S can finish a procedure known only as Cold Harbor. Like Lost, it answers one question while creating 3 more, a great way to keep people glued to the screen each and every week, with a cast consisting of veterans of both TV and film, as well as making stars of newcomers Zach Cherry, Britt Lauer, and Tramel Tillman, the latter 2 winning Emmys for their work this season. The ending left us on yet another cliffhanger, with Mark S, despite saving Gemma, Miss Casey, from Lumen's clutches, deciding to rebel against his directive and stay inside Lumen with Helly R, creating an interesting innies versus outies conflict to take us into the 3rd season, on top of the already existing Lumen threat. It gave us some of the most iconic TV moments of the whole year, including another iconic milkshake dance, and it shows that not only is Ben Stiller kind of a genius, but possibly one of the signature auteurs. After all, this is the same guy who gave us
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Now here's hoping we don't have to wait another 3 years for season 3. Task, the biggest surprise of the year. Not because of the talent involved, but because it's an original miniseries that people watched and talked about. In the era where a big IP has taken over TV as well, it's always refreshing to see people going nuts for something original. Granted, this is a story structure we've seen before, but since it's aping 2 of the greatest crime movies ever made, it's not like we're complaining. Following up his Emmy-winning miniseries Mayor of Easttown, Brad Inglesby returned to the Delco area of Pennsylvania to tell a dueling story of cop and criminal, and their inevitable collision course. Mark Ruffalo's Tom Brandis, an FBI agent whose home life is in shambles due to recent tragedies, is appointed to head head up a task force to investigate a series of break-ins of drug houses belonging to a motorcycle club known as the Dark Hearts, being carried out by Robbie Prendergast, portrayed by Tom Pelphrey, who's got a vendetta against the club. What follows is a story of broken people trying to get something for themselves in a world that could care less about them. My favorite part of the show is that no matter what side of the aisle these characters fall on, there's something to love about all of them, because this show leaves almost all genre conventions behind to tell a very human story with some of the best performances that surpass the medium. Every new episode peeled back the layers on each character to add something new to the story, resulting in an explosive climax filled with plenty of twists and turns, giving us another HBO miniseries for the ages, and if not for my number one, would otherwise be the best show of the year. Andor. No, this isn't number one because it's Star Wars. It's number one because, like all great art, it's reflective of the times we're living through now. We live in the age of the Trojan horse, because all art is presented in big budget IP and sequels, and because that has now infected the streaming services that once gave us respite from that at the movies, we watch the Star Wars brand go from gigantic budgeted blockbusters to middling TV shows. Except for this one. The one time Disney actually learned its lesson, in that they realized that Tony Gilroy was the best creative they were ever gonna get. We got arguably the greatest Star Wars TV show ever made, and the only one outside the animated shows that truly felt like it was honoring George Lucas's original vision. Spread across the last 5 years leading up to the events of Rogue One and the original Star Wars trilogy, Andor feels like it's closing the books on a lot of things. Balancing political intrigue with jaw-dropping visuals and action sequences, Andor truly stood out amongst a myriad of absolute dreck, giving us not only a Star Wars show for the ages, but a show for the ages, making it the best show of 2025. And that was it. Those were my top 10 favorite TV shows of 2025. I'm glad that I was able to still get some really good quality TV shows out of the year. But what were your guys' favorite TV shows of 2025? Which shows do you think cleared the top of the list? Were there any that I was missing from this list and from my honorable mentions? Whatever they were, leave them in the comment section below. And be sure to leave this video a like and a subscribe button. And be sure to keep coming back for more content coming out this year. We've got a lot of stuff planned still for the year of 2026. I still can't believe that we're 8 years into this, but it still feels like we're just getting started. So again, please leave this video a like and a subscribe button. And as always, people, 12 seasons in a short film, and watch more fucking movies. We'll see you guys next time.